Dear listeners, as we gather for this episode of Hikes and Mics, our hearts are heavy with the recent events unfolding in Southern California. The devastating wildfires have ravaged beloved landscapes, destroyed homes, and most tragically claimed lives. To all those affected, the families mourning loved ones, individuals who lost their homes, and communities facing the aftermath, we extend our deepest sympathies and unwavering support. The magnitude of this disaster is profound. In these trying times, it's essential to come together as a community. Many of you have reached out asking how you can assist those impacted. Please check out the episode show notes to learn more about how you can help out the individuals and communities impacted by these fires. To those on the front lines, the brave firefighters, first responders, and volunteers, your courage and dedication do not go unnoticed. Your tireless efforts to protect our communities and natural spaces are deeply appreciated. In the face of such adversity, it's natural to feel overwhelmed. Remember, it's okay to seek support, lean on one another, and take time to heal. Our trails and mountains have always been symbols of resilience and strength. Together as a community, we will navigate this challenging path and emerge stronger. Stay safe, take care of each other, and let's continue to support those in need during this critical time. Welcome everyone to the Hikes and Mics podcast. I'm your host Ivan, and together we'll embark on a weekly journey connecting with extraordinary hikers from all corners of the United States and beyond. Throughout these winter months, we've had the privilege of conversing with remarkable individuals. Their experiences and adventures will leave you yearning to hit the trails. In this episode, we're joined by Jesús Mendoza, the passionate founder of Nosotros and Naturaleza, a hiking club based in South Puget Sound. We dive into the origins of the club, their mission to break down barriers for BIPOC youth in the outdoors, and the unforgettable adventures they embarked on in 2024, including a spooky night hike on the infamous Iron Goat Trail. From food and culture to overcoming logistical challenges, Jesús offers valuable insights into making hiking more accessible for everyone. Whether you're an experienced hiker or just getting started, this episode is packed with inspiration and practical tips. Without further ado, let's jump into this episode with our guest, Jesús. Welcome, everyone, to the latest episode of the Hikes and Mics podcast. I'm really excited to be having our guest with us today. His name is Jesús, and he is the founder of Nosotros and Naturaleza, a hiking club out of South Puget Sound. And we're going to be hearing about his journey with the outdoors as well as what his group is doing here in Seattle and in Washington. Jesús, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. We always like to start off by having our guests share a little bit about themselves and how they got started hiking.
Thank you so much for having me. My name is Jesús Mendoza. I am the founder of Nosotros and Naturaleza. I was born in Jalisco, Mexico, but I've been living here in Washington State for over 20 years now, and I now proudly call this place my home. Thanks to my experiences in community and youth services, and a big shout out to my sister who first introduced me to hiking, I fell in love with the outdoors.
Do you remember, Jesús, what some of your first memories were with the outdoors here in Washington?
I remember as a kid, when I first got introduced into hiking, I used to think that hiking was pointless because you were just going out to see a bunch of rocks and trees. But the more I got into it, and again, thanks to my sister, I saw it more as a fitness journey. That's kind of the way I first got introduced into it. But as I got older, I saw the more benefits of hiking. So I thought to myself that, well, it kind of just evolved from there.
I share a similar path as you. As a kid growing up, my parents, especially my dad, would take me fishing, but we wouldn't go hiking. I just didn't get it until I tapped back into it in my 20s. I started seeing what hiking was. Like, it was more than just, like you said, going out there looking at trees and rocks. It has so many benefits, and it's been a huge benefit in my life. I've seen it in others too, and that's why I'm really excited to speak about your group, because you're doing a really great service for youth and young adults in King County by sharing the outdoor experiences with them. And, you know, for me, I've primarily hiked on the eastern side of the Cascades. I've done a few hikes on the western side of Washington, but I'm always curious for folks that live on the west side, how do you describe the hiking scene in and around your local neck of the woods?
Yeah, there's so much to see here in Washington State. Based on all the hikes that I've been on already, there's still so much more. I like to travel a lot, but every time that me and my girlfriend catch ourselves saying, oh man, we want to explore this state's national park, this state's national forest or state parks, I feel like we always have to catch ourselves and think to ourselves, and say like, hey, we still need to explore this in our state. We still have to do this hike here in our state and here in Washington State. We look back and, because we use AllTrails a lot and the WTA app a lot, but we look back and see all the hikes that we have yet to do here. There's just so many that we have to do here in Washington State, especially here alone in the West Coast in King County, Puget Sound area. There's just so much to do here. And it's all here in our backyards. That's why I started Nosotros en Naturaleza, to expose the youth that isn't exposed to this.
One thing that I love about most places in Washington, I want to say probably every place in Washington, is you don't have to travel far to hit a trail. Like for most people, it's maybe 20, 25 minutes, if that. Even there in Seattle, you don't have to travel far to get away from the city noise and lights. We're recording this with winter knocking. A lot of the trails up in the mountains already have plenty of snow. And I've seen some of the fall hikes that you guys did, and we'll be tapping into some of the specific ones. But how would you describe your fall hiking season? And are there any memorable destination or hikes that kind of stick out this last fall?
Definitely. Our fall season was great. Amazing. Skyline Loop for sure was a great way to start our fall season. Amazing colors. And to think of it, I think I have gone on it before. And that was one of the first hikes that I've ever done with my dad when I was younger. I think I have pictures of it too. If you look on my feed, I have a picture of me and my dad when we were younger. And I posted it on Father's Day. Maybe I'll post this one next Father's Day. But Skyline Loop was very beautiful. A lot of colors, perfect weather. We saw tons of wildlife. And I think that was just amazing. Great way to start our fall season for Nosotros en Naturaleza. So yeah, that was a great way to start our momentum for sure.
I gotta agree. The start of fall here in Washington in 2024 was special because it stayed warm. We had really good weather across the state for the first half of October. So you're able to still get in some hikes, especially like Skyline. And you've already touched base on it. There's a lot of trails and destinations here in Washington State alone. And I always like to ask fellow Pacific Northwest folks, what are some of your favorite places to visit in Washington State or across the Pacific Northwest?
Some of my top recommendations that I think I can give to the community, I think Dedge Peak for sure. If you are not an avid hiker, you don't go as often. And the reason why I'll start with Dedge Peak is because I think anyone can do it. There's definitely some incline to go with it at the start, but you'll get an amazing sunset view, or even if you want to do a sunrise with it, it's not very challenging. Now, if you want to go a little more harder and still get same results, but better views, Mount Fremont, I've done that one twice now. Dedge Peak, I've done like 3 or 4 times. Little Mashel Falls, super family friendly, even dog friendly, and you'll get amazing waterfall views. Annette Lake, great for lake views, picturesque views, and personal favorite, Summit Lake, but you do need 4-wheel drive for that one. It can be very difficult to get to. Do not recommend if weather conditions are bad, but beautiful, beautiful views all around. And finally, if you're looking for an intense workout, Mount Storm King.
Yeah, I definitely want to touch on Mount Storm King because it's on my bucket list for 2025. But before we jump into that, I kind of wanted to hear the origin story behind starting Nosotros en Naturaleza. Can you share with us how the idea came to be and just the story behind it?
So it's all a passion project. I've been working with community organizations, youth services organizations for over 4+ years. And it all came because I like what I'm doing. I enjoy the work that I do, but I feel like I have never really seen my people be represented enough in these spaces. And I just wanted to give my experience out and share it with my community and be able to express myself while also sharing my experience. And one thing that I've always wanted to share too is my love for food, my love for snacks. Also, sharing that experience with my community as well, implementing that into hiking, implementing all of those elements into hiking and the importance when eating and how that creates bonding and community in the hiking scene with good food, with good snacks, and introducing them to healthy, inexpensive snacks and food that can be attainable to anyone. And just also taking down those barriers like transportation, park passes, equipment, any of that stuff, just taking those down. And a lot of these times, I see myself in the youth that I take. I was somewhat of a troubled youth when I was younger. So whenever I see these youth that come with me on these hikes, I like to take them and then distract them. And then I like seeing their expressions whenever we go out on these hikes.
It's a beautiful thing that you're doing, Jesus, because it does add up when you have to buy the passes, find transportation, and then if you start going on some of the more advanced hikes, you're going to need specific gear. So there's still some barriers, and that's why I love that you guys are breaking down those barriers and being able to take the next generation of hikers out into the outdoors. Because for me, the next big evolution is I would love to see more BIPOC community members when it comes to backpacking. I think that's the next barrier that I'm hoping to see break down for BIPOC youth and young adults and just hikers in general.
And not to mention that a lot of these hikes are so far away. And one thing that a lot of people don't think about is what could potentially happen to your vehicle. One thing that I had to make sure I got is my AAA. I upped it the next level to make sure in case there was something that happened or got a flat tire or anything, I made sure we had backup. So another thing that adds in the cost, like you were saying.
Jesus, one thing I did want to have you speak on is you did something special this last year and you were able to get a cohort together of youth to participate in Nosotros and Naturaleza. How many youth and young adults ended up being in the year one cohort, and what were some of the application requirements?
So we had 4 young adults participate in our year 1/pilot program cohort. In case some people are wondering why so little, well, those are all the individuals that I could fit in my car and I could afford. This project was entirely funded by me. I had to make sure I could manage it and keep it alive. The requirements were pretty low barrier. It was anybody who was interested in the outdoors, being a Latino BIPOC community member, and just being interested in wanting to join. 18 to 24 years of age, living in the South King County. That was basically it. I wanted to make it as low barrier as possible.
I gotta give you props, Jesus. When I saw the hiking destination list that you guys crafted for the first year of the cohort, man, you guys did it big. When it came to crafting the 2024 hike list, how did you kind of come together with your other hiking leads to craft that list? And then what were some of the memorable highlights from that list?
The hike list that we came up with, I think the best way that we chose to move forward with this was we wanted to start off easy and then make our way towards more difficult hikes. And the way we decided to go about this was by starting off with the more common ones and easier, and also choosing more accessible in terms of parking and everything like that. So yeah, the more common one like Franklin Falls and Twin Falls and everything, the ones that everybody knows about. And also, I also wanted to make sure that I knew about them too and that I have been to as well. So that's the way that we kind of went about that. And then we kind of like amped it up a bit, and maybe some people might think that we amped it up too much because we went from in the first hike starting off at Twin Falls, and then in second hike in Net Lake, and then in third hike we went all the way to Mount Storm King. So that was kind of the way we went about it. But I think a challenge was also that, this is our first year. So we had to pivot a lot. We had to change plans a lot because of scheduling conflicts, people canceling and people changing their plans a lot. So I think there was challenges in that aspect as well. That's kind of the way we went about it.
You already suggested Mount Storm King. And like I said, I've been wanting to do that hike for over a year now, and you guys were able to knock that out early on in the process, and you guys made it past the maintained trail and reached the summit, right?
Only 3 of us did because the rest of the group was terrified to do it. And personally, I was scared too, but I had to join in because one of our other participants, he just did not want to give up, and he just wanted to keep going. It was very misty, very rainy, but he wanted to keep kept going. And as the main lead of the group, I didn't want to let him go by himself. So I had to follow through, and I was like, oh my gosh. And, there's other people doing it too. So I was like, you know what? People are doing it. They're coming back alive. On the way back, we did see some people slip and hurt their head. And even this lady was bleeding on the side. It was kind of a scary sight. But once we got to the top, it was very sad to see. It was a very sad view because it was all just mist. We've seen pictures of it during a very nice clear day. It's a very beautiful view. What we got to see was nothing compared to that.
From the reels you were able to share, it looked like it was just foggy, misty, but it did kind of provide like a different view because the clouds were moving so fast. Like you would get glimpses, but then they would quickly go away. But the one thing that caught my attention too is you guys took the ferry to go over there rather than kind of drive around the sound. Was it the first time for some people to be on the ferry?
Yes, and we did that on purpose too, because I think on our GPS, it showed that it would have actually been faster if we drove, but we decided to take the ferry because we wanted to give our participants that experience of getting on the ferry, because for some of them, I think for about 5 of them, it was their first time getting on the ferry. So that was a cool experience for them. Got a lot of cool pictures and videos of them, getting to see the Seattle view from the ferry. It was very cool. So yeah, we got to get some breakfast and some snacks on the ferry. So cool experience.
I didn't get on a ferry until like in my 20s. And it was always because I just didn't know. I didn't know the process. So the fact that you were able to show these youth how to get on a ferry, the experience, and kind of break down that barrier. Because yes, while sometimes driving can be a little bit faster, the experience on one of the Puget Sound ferries, it's something that everybody should experience at least once. So that's really awesome that you were able to do that. One thing that you ended up doing, and it's kind of how we were able to touch base on Instagram, is you also introduced community hikes last year. How did those kind of come about, and how did they differ from the cohort hikes?
We wanted to be more inclusive and more inviting to everybody and not be so closed off. Our cohort members were also mentioning to us a lot that they were having friends who were like, hey, those hikes look really fun. They look really cool. Is there any way that we can join? Is there any way that we can participate? So we wanted to make something more inviting. And as the season went on, we wanted to extend more hikes and do more hikes with everybody that anybody can join. So we added a list of hikes that anybody can join, started promoting it in that way. And then we also, started adding the RSVP form. And then for the RSVP form, that kind of ensured everybody that, that we would still have snacks for everybody, and then the liquid IV for everybody, and in case we had other drivers with us, then that would ensure carpooling situations for everybody at the meeting points. So yeah, it was a great system that we had going.
I love seeing the pictures from those community hikes on your Instagram, and just seeing the different places you guys were able to visit as a group has been amazing. Another thing that I love that you guys are incorporating into your hikes is educational activities or games while you're hiking. Can you share a little bit with us some of those activities or games that your group held last year?
I think the most memorable, fun, and educational activity that we've done as a group so far was the one that we had for the Endangered Species Day. Vivi, who was our hike guide and field research specialist, did a great job by creating a hand-drawn Jeopardy board with a lot of engaging questions. We also had prizes for everybody who participated in that hike. I think that was our hike to the Bridalveil Falls. She had like this whole board going on, and if you go on our Instagram, there's a picture of everybody who won the prize, because we divided into groups, and then that's how we ended up playing the game. But it was really fun. And then more recently, we had Maria, who now helps us with our education and facilitation. She hosted an amazing hands-on workshop where we turned old t-shirts into reusable tote bags, and we plan to do more workshops and hands-on activities like that in the future.
The other idea that I'm going to be honest, Jesús, I'm going to steal it, and for 2025, I'm going to incorporate it into my hiking club, and that's the idea that you gave a disposable camera to each of your cohort members near the start of the year to take pictures while they're on the trail. How did that idea kind of come about, and have those pictures been published? Like, were you guys able to get them developed already?
So that idea actually was a really cool idea that our old social media coordinator, Andy, had for us. And he came up with that idea. I don't know how, but it was a brilliant, awesome idea. And no, unfortunately, we have not developed those pictures yet, but I still have them. I have them ready. I just haven't had the time to go take them. They'll be ready soon. I promise once I have them developed, they will be posted on our Instagram and we'll have a really cool story or video or something up and posted for that. So stay tuned.
I'm looking forward to it, man. And yeah, I think what I'm going to do is either have somebody that's new to the group hold the camera, and it's up to them to take a picture at any point in time and kind of wait till the end of the year to develop them, kind of like how you're doing. And this way, you could see the different pictures people take throughout the year. I really love that idea. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what your cohort were able to capture on the trails. One segment we like to do here on the podcast is we like to do a deep dive into our guest Instagram feed and ask them about a specific post or maybe a reel. And this place has also been on my bucket list for Washington, and you guys did it the right way, the way I hope to do it. And you were able to not just hike the Iron Goat Trail, but you did a night hike. How was that hike and experience on that infamous trail?
We also did it on, I think like November 1st or something like that. But
oh yeah, because it was right around Halloween. It was like just a day or two after, right?
Yeah, I wish the timing would have been perfect, but that was the point. It was to have a spooky hike, and that, to have the night hike going with the vibes and everything. Yeah, that one was really fun. It was an amazing hike. I don't think the videos do it justice. That you really just need to get out there and do that one. Highly recommend doing it at night. I know some people might be scared to do that one at night because of its history and because it's haunted, quote unquote haunted, but highly recommend anybody to do it. Anybody who's a thrill seeker for sure needs to get out there and do it. But amazing hike, so many awesome views and so many things to see, a lot of history all over that hike. Just absolutely amazing hike. Everybody was definitely on edge at first, including maybe myself a little bit, but I think as soon as you get out there, and once you're in there after the first 30 minutes, you kind of get over it and you just start exploring everything. Make sure you take some good flashlights though, take plenty of batteries, but definitely a good hike.
And I wanted to ask you, Jesus, what time did you guys end up hitting the trailhead?
So again, it was like November 2nd or 1st. Take that into consideration. And we got there around 7. That's when we started. We did our little intro circle, icebreakers and everything. So yeah, 7:30 is when we started hiking.
And was there anybody else on the trail that night with you guys?
Absolutely nobody. It was, that's what made that hike the hike, That's what gave it the spooky, eerie feeling.
Now I gotta ask, did anything spooky or weird happen while you guys were on the trail?
Nope. I wish. I was hoping for something to happen. At one point, I told everybody, turn off your flashlights. Because there was, I think, NPR or KUOW, the local one here. They had posted something that somebody had felt touches or something on their arm or their shoulder. And I'm like, come on, I don't want that to happen. And my girlfriend would tell me, because there's this huge wall all over the hike and it's kind of spooky. And I think that's where the real world was, because it's just like, oh, don't touch it. You're gonna bring the ghost with you. But yeah, it's really fun. Highly recommend.
For listeners, if you don't know about the Iron Goat Trail, please Google it and hear about its history. It does have a very specific incident that happened that kind of gives it its spooky vibes. But Google Iron Goat Trail in Washington to read about it. How can the community support Nosotros and Naturaleza to help continue getting BIPOC youth and young adults outside and exploring nature?
I think just, keep on spreading the word about us. I think that's the best thing anybody can do for us. If you know anybody interested in joining any of our hikes, we welcome anybody. Follow us on Instagram. We're out here constantly looking for anybody who wants to join us, who wants to help us. We're opening volunteer opportunities soon. So if you want to come come out here and help us with anything, please. We have a lot of things coming up here in 2025. Our Instagram, Nosotros and Naturaleza, all together.
And we'll be sure to link it in the episode show notes so people can check you out. Can you give us a little preview of what's to come in 2025 for Nosotros and Naturaleza?
Yeah, so more hikes for sure, more themed hikes similar to the Iron Goat Trail. I love Halloween. I love spooky vibes. So, which is why, that Iron Goat Trail that we just talked about came up and why we did it. Be on the lookout for more hikes like that. So if you want to join us for anything like that, definitely follow us and join us. Be on the lookout for our Cohort 2.0, which will be coming up spring. I think this last one was March. Dates are TBD, but this is a Hikes and Mikes exclusive right here. We haven't mentioned or said anything about our Cohort 2, but yeah, Hikes and Mikes exclusive right here. Cohort 2, we are looking to make some changes to it, but yeah, be on the lookout for that. If you know anybody who falls within that age range of that 18 to 24, let them know. Applications will be up spring, and remember, it goes all the way to fall. A lot of fun hikes, snacks, meals, post hikes, and then we're also looking to do an overnight trip. So be on the lookout.
Oh man, looking forward to seeing that. And I just got to give you again your flowers, Jesús. I wish there was a group like yours when I was growing up, especially from high school to college, to be able to explore the outdoors and get to enjoy the local trails that we have to offer. So really looking forward to what you and your team are building when Nosotros en Naturaleza, and looking forward to supporting in whatever capacity I can. These next couple questions, Jesús, are just regular questions we like to ask all our guests near the end of the podcast episode. And the first one is, when it comes to a regular routine, for some it's on the summit, for others it's at the end of the hike. For a lot of us, it's packing the favorite snack or drink. For others, it's a moment of zen. And then, a lot of us like that favorite meal afterward. Is there any regular customer routine that you like to do when you reach your destination or when you make it back out?
Me personally, I love a good burger. I always try to look for a good local burger on the way back. So find me at a local food joint that's serving up a good burger after a intense hike. So that's me. That's where you're gonna find me. And that's, again, going back to what I talked about earlier about food and hiking, and food and community, food and bonding. I think that also creates, it creates community. So yeah, that's why I try to include in our hikes in Nosotros en Naturaleza.
Now, this next one is about your pack list, Jesús. Is there a luxury item that you tend to pack on a regular basis that falls outside of the essentials list?
Not really. I'm pretty basic with what I pack. If anything, I wish I could pack less. I feel like I tend to pack a lot. I wish I was like the people that sometimes I see on big hikes, and they literally just go up with like a water bottle, and I don't get how they do that. They go up with just a water bottle for like a 10-mile plus hike, and they come back with just that water bottle. I don't get how they do it. I pack like 4 water bottles, 5 different snacks. I wish I could just do just a single water bottle, no backpack, no nothing. Going back to that question though, I think right now in the cold weather, one thing that I do like to pack extra is maybe a t-shirt or an extra thermal, because I tend to sweat a lot. So I like to take my bottom layer off because of like all the extra sweat that I build up. So then I get really cold once we stop hiking. So on the way down, I like to have a fresh, dry piece of clothing on, because then I feel like I'll get sick if I don't. Like, me resfrío. But then in the summer, I don't like to do that because then it keeps me cool.
I've seen trail runners on some of the big hikes with just like their little water vest or a water belt, and that's all they're taking. And I'm like, how are you doing that? I wish I could pack that light. I feel like some of them do take like either a life straw or some sort of water filtration, because I just can't imagine doing some of those big hikes with just, a liter or 2 of water, but maybe they can. Now, do you have any personal hiking goals for 2025, as well as any group goals for 2025?
Earlier, you mentioned, I think this one is both a personal and a group goal. I've never done Kolchak Lake, and hopefully the group that comes around with us, the cohort and the community that joins us, have never done it either. But yeah, I think Kolchak Lake is definitely on my list. I feel like everybody who I know has done Kolchak Lake, so that's definitely on my list. to do for 2025.
Now, we're at the tail end of the podcast, Jesús. We always like to finish it off with a series of this or that questions. They're all hiking related, and we got some new ones for season 9, so you're going to be the first one to hear some of the new this or that questions. So for the first one is, when it comes to trail snacks, do you prefer sweet or savory?
Definitely savory.
And then waterfalls or summits?
Definitely waterfalls.
And then this one's about trail systems. Do you prefer a trail with switchbacks or just going straight up?
Let's go straight up.
And then our most controversial one is, do you rock trek poles or do you prefer to be freehand?
I have trek poles, but I don't think I've ever used them, so freehand.
And then this one's about your footwear. Trail runners or hiking boots?
I'm hiking boots now, and I don't think I've ever owned trail runners. I literally just used to wear whatever shoes I had. Yeah, and now I'm team hiking boots all the way.
Do you prefer a loop trail or an out and back trail?
I feel like I haven't gone on enough loop trails, so out and back.
And then this is another one that's new for season 9. Group hikes or solo adventures?
Have never done a solo adventure, so group hikes.
And then these are some of the toughest ones. Sunset hikes or sunrise hikes?
Never done a sunrise. Sunset hike.
And then spring wildflowers or fall colors?
Fall colors all the way.
And then the last one is, do you prefer a steep climb or would you rather go long distance?
Get it over with. Steep climb.
Well, that was it, Jesús, for the this or that questions. For folks that want to learn more about Nosotros and Naturaleza, where are some of the places they can find you guys online, whether on social media or on a website?
So right now we're only on Instagram. You can find us at Nosotros en Naturaleza, or we also have a TikTok, and that's also Nosotros en Naturaleza.
And we'll be sure to link both of those in the episode show notes so people can check them out. Jesús, it has been amazing talking to you, and I'm really loving what you're doing here in Washington, especially in South King County, by helping youth and young adults get out there and enjoy the trails. Thank you for what you do. I wish there was a group like Nosotros en Naturaleza when I was starting hiking. You're doing some great work, and I can't wait to continue to support what you and the group is doing in 2025.
Thank you so much, Ivan. I appreciate you.
And that brings us to the end of this episode alongside Jesús. We extend a heartfelt thanks to him for coming on the podcast. Make sure to follow his and his club's adventures on Instagram at Nosotros en Naturaleza. Also, don't forget to check out the episode show notes to learn more about the club. We have an incredible lineup of episodes planned throughout the winter months, and we can't wait to share them with you. New episodes will be dropping every Monday, with occasional bonus episodes on Friday. To ensure you never miss out on these thrilling tales, remember to hit the like and subscribe button. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to check out our vibrant community on Instagram at Hikes and Mics. We'll be sharing episode visuals, my own personal hiking content, and so much more. Let's stay connected and continue to inspire each other on this remarkable journey. As we bid farewell, remember to tread those happy trails, embrace the great outdoors, and keep the spirit of adventure alive. Until next time, my fellow explorers, happy hiking. This episode's music was created by Ketsa. Follow him on Instagram at Ketsa Music. This episode is brought to you by Ursa Minor Outfitters. Folks, I'm absolutely in love with my loon mug. It's handmade, it's an absolute piece of art. Whether it's at the office or at the house, people keep asking to check it out. If you're not a loon fan, they also have other beautiful mugs for wildlife fans of moose, bears, and eagles. They specialize in products highlighting the outdoors and local pride through quality design by local artists. They've even started expanding into items beyond mugs, like apparel, dog accessories, and soon candles and more. They also try to partner and highlight other small businesses, and in some cases forego profits in lieu of charitable giving to help their community, such as the dog rescue. So check them out, UrsaMinorOutfitters.com, and enter promo code HikesMikes10 at checkout to receive 10% off your order. And for our four-legged hiking partners, they also have a portable silicone dog bowl and also a sweet over-the-collar dog bandana. Go check them out, UrsaMinorOutfitters.com, and don't forget to enter promo code HikesMikes10 at checkout to receive 10% off your order.